Hi, it's Saralyn and Amber again, and we're going to teach you how we do makeup on the Hostess at a spa. So when I go to do the makeup on the Hostess, I then always have the Hostess sit up to the front of the room so that I'm not having her like leaning over everybody to work on the Hostess. So I always kind of trade people out in chairs if the Hostess isn't sitting right up next to me. And then I sit down with her. And so what I have here is my bottle of alcohol, and I'll show you what I do with that in a minute, and different tools. Really everything that comes when you become a consultant and you get to get a makeup set, that's really what I like to have you use there too. So when the Hostess is sitting down, then I take the alcohol and I spray it in the center of the tissue. And what I will do as I go along is I will always clean and then dry as I'm going along. Okay, so then I say, I just sit down and I read with her. After applying foundation and concealer, so that's what we'll do first, Amber. We'll apply the foundation. I take the P2 because that's the one that comes with the Park Avenue Princess makeup set, the P2, and I let everybody try that. If it was a woman that has real dark skin, then what I do is have her try it just even on her jawbone, okay, because I don't carry all the different shades. And I wipe it on two sides. And I say, Amber, go ahead and do your makeup with that, your foundation with that. And then while she is doing that, I turn around to all the guests in the room and I hand out the other wet dry that I carry. This one happens to be Y2, but if I were going to buy one, this was just one that was returned to me. If I were going to buy one, I would probably buy M3. And so I just turn and hand this to everybody that's sitting in the room. And I say, you guys go ahead and play with this one. This one's to dip your fingers in and to try it on your skin. I also want you to smell it because it smells really good. And the way the wet dry works is that there's a sponge underneath. And it actually can go in here wet if you want to. And it has heavier coverage. So I'm just sitting here explaining to everybody while she's putting the makeup on. And then I go ahead and hand that to one of the girls in the room that are behind me. Okay, very good, Amber. And then the next thing it says is, and concealer. So I take out the concealer. And now, because Amber hasn't put her face on one side of this sponge here, I just give her two little dots of concealer on each side. See how that works? And they say, go ahead, Amber, and just kind of dot underneath your eyes to cover up any blemishes that you wish to cover up, you know, any dark circles, excuse me, or blemishes that you might wish to cover up. And I leave her to do that while I get ready for the next thing. It says, sweep the lighter shade of eyeshadow, and then I read it to her. Sweep the lighter shade of your eyeshadow, do it over the entire area from lash line to brow. Apply the darker shade in the crease. So I take the brush, and I always clean it again so she can see me clean it, even though it's been cleaned a trillion times before she has it. And I make sure I dry it off real good. I just dip it in, tap it down, go ahead and hand it to her. Okay. And then while Amber's doing the one eye, I dip in and hand her this for the other eye. I know you probably did your one eye twice, and that's okay. They usually do. But this way it gets them ready for how I'm going to do it the rest of the time. And then when she hands this brush back to me, I go ahead and dip in and wipe off. And this time I'm going to just barely tap in. See? And then tap down. You always want to tap down because then the color of the eyeshadow goes down into the brush instead of having a big burst of color. So I tap down. I hand this to her and I say, go ahead, Amber, and I do this. Go ahead and just do an outside little crease here, Amber. And sometimes you won't even see it when your eyes open, but when you blink, it'll look all pretty. Okay, so go ahead and do that on one eye. And then she hands this back to me. I clean in the middle. I dry off. Okay. I barely tap down. Tap in here. Very good. Looking good, Amber. And we'll give you a sponge to blend, so if it doesn't come out exact, that's okay. And then I dry off. And then what she's handed me now is brand new clean. So I just put it right back away. Okay. And then it says blend. So let's take your sponge, Amber, and there's a little wet dry on there, but that'll help you to blend. And it's always good to blend, even if you've got it just perfect. It kind of locks down everything. So just blend it till you're comfortable with it. Okay. And then we're going to apply the eye defining pencil. Be sure to apply as close to the top and the bottom lashes as possible. Blend to avoid a drawn on look. So lots of times women tend to take an eye pencil and do it right here, right? I've seen people do that. And I tell them this ahead of time because it's very common for me to turn around and look and they've put it on the eyelid, like that's actual eye area. And if I tell them that ahead of time, then I can stop them from being embarrassed later. So I take the pencil and I always sharpen it. Although it's been sharpened as I put it away, I let her see me sharpen it again so she knows it's brand new clean. Sometimes too, if there's any mark on it at all, I will wipe it in the alcohol and then I will dry it on the towel. So as I hand it back to her, it's totally clean. And then I'll say, sometimes it's easy, Amber, to just put your pinky to your face and start from the outside corner, just soft little strokes. You don't have to be a perfectionist with this. It's really nice and soft and light. And so by just doing soft little strokes, then it's easier to put on. So what we want them to do is not do the color of the eye with the eyeliner in here. You want to keep when they look in the mirror, you want them to stop. Sometimes I'll use the little brushes because they're a good, easy way to point. But you want to stop the eyeliner so that the color isn't clear into here. That makes the eye look larger, even though it's a huge eye like Amber's. It can help them to have even large looking eyes. But Amber's eyes are incredibly large, so she can do anything she wants to with them. Okay, and then it says top and bottom. Did you go ahead and do that?
Not the bottom.
Okay, just do it softly on the bottom. And then what I do is while she's messing with her eyes, I take the eye pencil that I then will show to everybody, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys try this eye pencil now, and I'm talking to my group here, and I take the pencil, I say, look how soft our eye pencils are. I just barely write it on my hand. And then I say, go ahead and play with this. Once again, this one is for your you guys to use on your hands or whatever, but lots of them end up putting it on their face. I can't even imagine, but they do. And this time, instead of handing it to this girl, I hand it to this girl over here. So the products are kind of going back and forth and meeting in the middle. Okay, so I've set that out there for them to play with. Also, when I turn to the audience and let them play with the wet dry, I then will also hand out the shade selector. And I'll say to them, go ahead and on the inside of your arm, go ahead and find the line, the actual plastic line that is best matches your shade, your color of your hue of your skin. Then when you find which line matches your hue of your skin, then take it to your cheek and decide exactly what shade you need. Because here is where you're going to be able to see that several of the shades blend in with the skin of her arm. And then up here is when you're going to lock down on the exact shade of her skin. Here is the line of plastic that you use. And then here is the shade that you use. Now, I'm just telling you that as consultants. You don't have to teach them that. What I say to my audience is I'm going to hand you all of our different shades of BeautiControl foundation. We actually have 5 foundations right now, I believe. But they come in these shades. So I'm going to let you pass these around and see what shades that we have. Okay? So I pass wet dry one way, and I pass the shade selector the other way.